Shut up and sit down.
And welcome to the People's Review Podcast. I am your host, Jose Shun, along with my co-host.
It's Dylan, the cat.
Dylan Mimi? What's going on, girl?
Yeah, dude, I'm here. I might be a god, I might not, and then I got eaten by a god. Anime shit, baby.
Anime shit. Yeah, you going Super Saiyan, bro?
Yo, I'm just nope, not today. Not today. I am exhausted coming into this recording. I'm like negative 2 Saiyans right now.
You need a sensu bean, like
real
dude.
Bad. Yeah, dude. Come on. Where's that cat and the fat guy? Yajirobe.
Yajirobe?
Where's Yajirobe? Just show up and be like, I got some beans for you. I know
He's the bean daddy.
I know if I was here, I would just die.
Yajirobe, also known as the Bean Daddy.
Bean Daddy.
But we're not here to talk about that great anime. We're here to talk about another anime, the movie we watched for the last week, The Children Who Chase Lost Voices, directed by Makoto Shinkai.
Yes. This is a mouthful of a name. Like, I kept messing it up this week. I was like, what is it called? Like, the child of the unknown voice? Like, the chicks who chase the river? Like, children who chase the unknown thing? Like the whole title doesn't even fit into the actual title because it's actually called The Children Who Chase Lost Voices from Deep Below. Yeah, that's classic like Japanese translation where the title is like, you know, like you'll see on like for example Dragon Ball Z, it'll be like Goku runs down Snake Way and then gets in trouble. Like, oh, that's the episode. Not that this is this, but that it's you know, Japanese is such a different language in how it's structured and verbs and stuff, so it's always interesting to see the translations.
That's why when a anime comes out, it usually takes a couple of months before it comes out in a English dub because, you know, they have to translate all that stuff and also sync the mouth movements. So that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. But people get paid to do that so we can watch anime. And yeah, this is 2 hours chock full of anime.
It is. But I wanted to talk a little bit beforehand about the director, Makoto Shinkai. Interesting enough, he actually started out his career as a video game artist. And then afterwards, he gained a bunch of recognition as a director because he made an original video animation called She and Her Cat, which came out in 1999. And then after that, he just started coming out with some great anime films. And two of his last movies that came out, named Your Name and Weathering with You, were both critically acclaimed and box office hits.
Whoa! You mean the successful director is a successful director? What?
Yeah, a successful director, but usually anime doesn't always translate well into like the box office.
I mean, that's just completely like disregarding the international and Japanese markets, though, right?
Nope. Like even in the Japanese markets.
Like, but you know, there's always that discrepancy, like especially when you look at like, you know, when people look at like Xbox versus PlayStation sales. PlayStation sells so much in Japan, and like Microsoft and Xbox is more like an American type thing generally. So, you know, in America, it's like, oh, like PS3, Xbox rules. It's like, oh, well, in Japan, that's probably the exact opposite. So, it's you know, I think in America we tend to forget, you know, disregard the international sales a lot when it comes to that stuff.
Well, I was just picking up from what I could find, but
Gotcha.
You know,
yeah, is that U.S. box office or international, or did you go to Bomojo?
I did not go to Fumojo. All I got was the total revenue, which was about $400 million for the movie Your Name.
That's big. That's a lot of money.
And then $200 million for the Weathering with You movie. So that's a lot of money right there. You know, it's almost that's over $500 million for both those films.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the breakdown, like country by country, or like, you know, did it do huge in China? Because I know that's a huge market that everyone's trying to get into. So,
I mean, would China even allow them to put their movies with the historic beef that China and Japan have had?
I mean, I don't know, but I just know that China has a lot of people, and pretty much every company is trying to get in there and make a little money.
Oh yeah, every company's trying to break into there. That's why a lot of times movies get altered.
Yeah.
To make sure that it could be sold also in the Chinese market.
Yep. Or like, you know, you had John Cena had to apologize for saying Taiwan was a country, which is just Jesus Christ, what a pathetic moment. Like, Jesus Christ.
Or LeBron.
Yeah.
What was it, a couple years ago?
Oh yeah, LeBron was just like, you know, we're not going to talk. I was uneducated on the whatever, but because obviously with, you know, it's a big money maker, so fortunately money talks. It's the world we live in.
It is, you know, capitalism is king. But
yep.
you know, let's put all that in the background and let's talk about our movie. So let me give the audience a little background about the movie.
Yeah, I want you to try to explain this movie.
So, all right. So this movie follows a little girl named Asuna and this evil guy named Mr. Miyazaki, who pretty much embroils her in a quest to find Agartha. It's basically a magical
Miyazaki.
land that has
That's not his name.
Yeah, it is.
Morisaki. Miyazaki's the Studio Ghibli guy.
Sometimes when you hear the characters' voices, the characters say their name. Sometimes it's like hard to like get the whole pronunciation.
Yeah.
All right, so it is Morisaki. So let me redo that.
Yeah, no. Well, let's keep this all in. Of me being a dick and being like, "Excuse me, actually."
Actually, sir. So in correction, the character is Mr. Morisaki, who brings us Asuna to the magical land called Agartha, who he's trying to bring back his beloved ex-wife, wife.
I mean, she's
Lisa.
dead. Ex-wife. I don't think they got divorced. She just died.
Yeah, that's why I said wife.
It's just a weird way to refer to a dead wife. My ex-wife. She's dead. Like,
she's dead, divorced, and dead.
Okay, no, sorry. Continue.
So he's trying to bring back his dead wife. It's kind of a sad story about how far someone would go to bring back somebody that they loved so much. I feel that one of the things you can see is he pretty much drags Asuna the whole time throughout this journey, but Asuna herself wants to be there at the same time because we later find out she doesn't like being alone. So that's why she keeps going with Mr. Morisaki, even though he's kind of a dickhead throughout the movie. And that's as best I can explain it, you know. It's a journey of people trying to figure out themselves. Mr. Morisaki trying to figure out how to cope with his wife being dead, and Asuna trying to not be alone.
Yeah, basically all about coping with death and different ways of dealing with grief and things like that. Yeah, you know, you see obviously Mr. Morisaki is dealing with it in the unhealthy way, obsessing over it, thinking about it every day, trying to literally talk to a god to bring her back. Asuna, you know, she's obviously, you know, it's not, you know, she's trying to continue with the day-to-day stuff. Her mom doesn't really give a fuck about her. And, yeah, she's just trying to, you know, she's like doing all the household chores herself. She's just kind of like working through it, you know, getting over grief by making yourself busy. And, you know, same thing with Shin, the whose older brother gets killed early on. He's just trying to do the man thing where it's like, just don't talk about it, don't think about it, just bottle it in until he, you know, can't bottle it in any longer, and it just all comes out. So yeah, many different. Basically, yeah, grief is front and center in terms of themes and plot. All about grief. Good grief.
Good grief, Charlie Brown.
That was terrible. That was a terrible joke. Why did I say that?
Listen, you set me up, I knock him down, you know what I'm saying? I'm like A-Rod, and you're like, I can't remember the pitcher's
Bronson
name.
Arroyo?
Bronson Arroyo. I'm running, and I'm slapping the ball out of your hand.
Yeah, Bronson.
That's what I'm doing.
Did you ever listen to Bronson Arroyo's country album?
Dylan, I don't think the people can handle that much sadness in one episode, so let's keep going.
That's sadder than people grieving about their lost loved ones. Is Bronson Arroyo's country album.
Oh, man. Savage.
Oh, that guy sucks. Oh, Bronson Arroyo's worse than dead people. What are we doing with our lives? What are we doing here? That's the end. That's the end of the podcast. I got nothing else. I can't top that. But yeah.
We already hit our highest highs. Now we're gonna go to our lowest lows.
And
let's talk about some scenes.
Yeah, let's talk. Talk about this film and what happened in it.
Do you want to start off with the scene,
first?
or do you want me to go?
Don't have a scene necessarily. Or I just want to say, like, obviously it's a very beautifully animated film. Really like a lot of the scenery, and I think they may have mixed some sort of like 3D graphics in there, though it was. I don't know 100%, but I know in like some other anime films they have like elements of computer animation that blend into the drawn stuff. So it's just beautiful vistas, scenery, really good design. Like, obviously a very, very good visual film, and it was enjoyable to watch, even just for that reason. Even if you were to throw away the rest of it. So, but we're not here to throw away the rest of it.
Why does food always look so good in animated films? Like this when Asuna was eating those sandwiches, my goodness, those things looked beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you want to draw tasty food or untasty food?
I mean, you want to draw tasty food, but still,
it's like
the sandwich is so plain, but like all the details they were able to get into.
Oh yeah, there's like a little bit.
It looked so real.
It's just a little bit of elasticity. They have like nice coloring. Like the bread is always like there's no holes in the bread. There's no pits in any like apples or anything like that. Everything's just fresh and juicy. But it's like it's like advertising. Like when you see a pizza commercial. And, it's like, oh, look at the cheesy pizza. It's like, that's all like glue, and someone's there with a torch, like literally burning it before the shot happens, and like all sorts of like weird ways to make things look tastier than they are. But or like I'm trying to think what's the first cartoon food I saw. It was either like a Tom and Jerry like steak, like those perfectly marbled steaks with like the bone in the middle, just like perfect coloring, or the donuts in Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Or obviously people know that those are rice balls, but in the American dub, they're donuts. I'm like, wow, these kids just hang out.
Dylan, you want this donut?
These kids just hang out eating donuts, catching Pokemon. What a life! I'm sorry, was I supposed to talk about a scene? Was that the point of this?
Honestly, I thought we were watching Pokemon for a second, and that one of the first scenes in the movie, Shun defeats that bear-looking thing. I was like, this looks just like a Pokemon. It's like being in the same place.
Ash never like punched or he tried to punch Mewtwo, and then got turned to stone in Pokemon the first movie.
We all cried that day,
and we all cried. So, first thing I want to talk about is when Barry Benson is buzzing around, and he wants to get a better life for himself. So he's going to leave the bee colony and try to find a human woman to mate with.
Dude, you didn't watch the fucking Bee Movie.
Oh, sorry, was that...
Did you watch the Bee Movie?
Children who chase lost bee movies. Children who chase lost voices. No,
Children who chase lost bees down the deep below.
I think... I want to talk about let's talk about that first action scene, where this is the first scene where like Oh, there is some supernatural stuff happening. Where I guess you may have assumed that because it's an anime, like it's a pretty easy assumption that there's going to be some supernatural stuff. But what is it? Asuna is beating this boy who talks like a man, and I was getting some Stranger Danger vibes right away. Long-haired guy. Apparently, Shun is supposed to be 13 to 14. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, sure. What? I think does she meet him? She meets him on the bridge, or she sees they've been warned about a bear in class. They're like, oh, a big bear's there. Beware the dangers. Go home together. And of course, Asuna goes out on her own to go to her little perch or a rock to listen to her crystal radio, and then gets confronted by the big bear monster, kind of like the beginning of Princess Mononoke, where they defeat the big, like, dark monster that's trying to kill everybody. And Shun comes out and fights him with a crystal, and then kills him just as a train comes, and then they both jump off. They just both jump off the bridge. I guess all the people from Agartha can just jump off stuff. It's fine. They got no fall damage. I don't know. Maybe that's a side effect of living in the underworld land.
I actually have a note about that scene here.
Oh, yeah. Chime in.
My note goes as follows. Dylan, why don't you ever rescue me from bears in the middle of a train track and then jump off the bridge while holding me and doing flips?
One is I'm not running. I'm not running. If
you won't run to save me,
I
fucking
ain't
bullshit.
These days I ain't running very far. Two, I've never been with you and also seen a giant bear. So
Yet.
yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, we do live in, maybe if we go to New Hampshire on some sort of romantic date, I can fight off of like a brown bear for you.
No, it has to be a black bear.
Or make friends with them like Tim Treadwell did. And then even he got eaten, so. Shout out to Tim Treadwell.
Shout out Tim.
Oh,
but that scene was very well animated, especially the fight, especially after he like kills the bear. It's very gruesome.
Yeah, and then it just falls off, and that's when we start to. There's like multiple rings of intrigue where you have this mysterious man boy, who puts the moves on Asuna. And I was like, yo, I know Japanese culture has like young age stuff, but this is some Chris Hansen, we gotta call him. Like, this is, that was uncalled for, that is not consent. Consent was not given. Like, some weird stuff happening. And apparently it's like, okay, so it'd be like a 13-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl, I guess. I don't know. He looks like a man. He talks like a man.
Maybe he has the spirit of a man in a boy's body.
Well, maybe, because he seems to be kind of like mystical. Because he right after this, he falls off the cliff and dies. Right? I'm remembering that, right? He just like falls off the cliff and dies after.
That was after him and Asuna hung out for a bit.
Yeah, after this unwarranted kiss.
Oh, you mean the kiss on the forehead?
Yes, unwarranted, stranger danger. You're a man kissing a child that ain't your child. I'm calling the cops on Shun, but I can't because he's dead.
Do you know why you're here? I'm Chris Hansen, by the way.
I heard you were here to meet a girl. Oh yeah, we were just gonna hang out, listen to this radio, listen to our radio. Yeah, I see you brought
beer, Shun.
You brought Mike's Hard Lemonade. You brought condoms. Why would you bring condoms if you were just gonna hang out? Just in case. It's I carry condoms with me all the time. You carry condoms with you all the time. My name is Chris Hansen. We're doing a story about young men, older men who try to meet young girls online for sex. If there's anything you want to say feel free to say it. Otherwise, you're free to walk out that door. And then they get tackled by cops.
You never run away from Chris Hansen.
No, except for the first couple seasons where they did not have the cops, people definitely just ran.
I'm out of here.
There's a great highlight of the NBC guys like got in a car and followed this dude, and he like put his umbrella out in front of the camera while he was running, because he didn't want to be seen. Anyways, we're not here to talk about sexual predators. We're here to talk about Shun and how he died. He fell off a cliff and died, which then leads to basically the only conversation that we see between the mother and Asuna, where she basically says like, "Hey, there's a boy that died and he had your scarf that was missing because I saw it was missing earlier." She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna go to my room." And
Deny.
It's sort of the catalyst for everything, right? And ties into the themes where getting over death, like obviously, like Asuna, at a young age, when you're young and you have someone close to you die, you don't really know how to react. You can sort of just think they're gonna get better, and then they don't, and then you just sort of have to keep going, and then like this is her just like bottling it in because of those like initial feelings, like, does she care about this random dude that put the moves on her? Maybe. Or, yeah. It's just a, interesting tie into the overall themes of grief and dealing with it.
Yeah, but we also learned throughout this movie that it's not only children who struggle with dealing with grief. Even adults themselves can struggle with dealing with grief.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not everyone has the coping mechanisms for it.
But as a kid, it just feels so far and beyond your scope, like that stuff that ideally that would be the loss of innocence moment, right? If you are a young person and had an older person in your life pass away. So ideally, the adults would be more used to that, or at least understand that when someone dies, they're actually gonna die. As opposed to like a very young child is not gonna quite get it until it's like a week later and they still haven't seen them, and their mom says they're not coming back, and you go to the grave, and you do this and you do that. So, yeah. But I mean, Shun was a predator, so I guess we shouldn't cry too much. Like, this guy was a menace to this little town, mysterious stranger. So now that we're off the phone with Chris Hansen, Jose, you talk for a bit.
Man. So now that we're off the phone with Chris, I guess the scene I want to talk about is this is after Asuna. We learned that Mr. Morizaki becomes the substitute teacher while the main teacher is actually pregnant. So she's going to be soon leaving the class to go on maternity leave. So Mr. Morizaki becomes the sub. Then after class, after Asuna hears him talk about Agartha, he just mentions the word, and he sees her twitch like while talking about the afterlife. Well, he's trying to get a reaction out of somebody. It's kind of like when you mention something to a bunch of people, you wait to see who reacts to that word,
Yeah, I guess I've never done this super spy shit, so I haven't had to try to suss.
You haven't hung out with Chris Hansen enough.
I mean, I have. Did you see that impression? I'm pretty much there. I'm from the Church of COD. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut To Catch a Predator reference.
And then she finds out where Mr. Morizaki lives, goes to his house, he learns about the creatures from Agartha. Then afterwards, he tells her,
because this bear was a creature from Agartha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned that the bear was a creature from Agartha. He was a guardian. And then, so after she leaves, he tells her, don't stray from the path. Just go straight home. But as soon as she gets near her house, she does not. So as soon as she gets near the house, she sees Mimi, and as soon as she does, she starts to follow him, which leads us to meet Fake Shun, aka Shin, who's totally not cool and is totally being a huge dick.
Hey, Shin,
He's
more
"I'm
like
not Shun."
shit. Am I right? Ah, got him, bitch. At least this person's age appropriate.
About the same age, and then we meet the Archangels, who is this organization who's trying to get into Agartha, and they pretty much just send an attack helicopter to their location, and nobody into town is like, is that an attack helicopter? No, it's just another fucking Tuesday.
I forgot about the attack helicopter scene. And there, that's what I love about anime, right? Like, only they can like do these like, and obviously like really well animated and well done like crazy ass action scenes. Like, oh, here's this like, in a lot of ways this is a quaint film about loneliness and death and grief, but also has an attack helicopter scene.
What movie isn't great by adding on an attack helicopter? I mean, it's like 2 + 2 = 4. That's what makes movies great. Attack
I think
helicopters.
Schindler's List should have had an attack helicopter in it.
Oh man, there's another scene I want to talk about that kind of correlates to Schindler's List.
Oh,
You know what scene I'm talking about?
oh.
That's my scene, Dibs.
Go ahead. Do it up.
Oh my goodness, no, but I'll give you a chance to talk about another scene before I talk about that.
No. Oh God, we need to. No, it's just we need to talk about this. If you're thinking what I'm thinking,
Yes.
we need to just. The cat is metaphorically out of the bag, and we need to recapture it.
All right, so let's. So we're gonna talk about this scene further down the movie.
Yeah,
So this
is obviously
after...
spoilers. Just go watch the film. It's a beautiful film. We're jumping around a little bit, but it's a beautiful film. Watch it. Jose, tell me about what. Just go. Just go.
So Asuna Shin saved this little mute girl from those creatures. I can't remember. What
they're like shadow creatures that can't live in sunlight, but will like eat you and kill you if you're in darkness or shadows.
I think they're called the Akuma or something like that.
Something like that. Or I actually I should see the there's something like that.
All my notes just say attack helicopter, so it's definitely not in here.
The attack helicopters that come from the ground and try to eat you. They can't be in sunlight though, which is kind of weird for an attack helicopter.
Yeah, so these attack helicopters you can't be in the sunlight. They can only be in the shadows. They escape and they take this little girl to her village. We then meet this old man who is her grandfather, and we learn that she's also a kind of like her blood is tainted because her father is a top-born person and wasn't from Agartha. So afterwards,
so you're telling me this is a story about tops and bottoms?
As the old man, as Mr. Morizaki, Asuna are having dinner, the old man starts to talk about how for hundreds and hundreds of years, men have tried to come into Agartha to try to take it and to try to take the power it has. So then we start seeing like a bunch of like old images, and and then you first see Napoleon and then a couple of other people.
I think like Alexander
out of the
Great,
fucking blue, it's fucking Hitler.
Hitler tried to invade Agartha. I want that anime. Where's that anime?
I was like, damn, Hitler was really trying to go everywhere. He was trying to go to Poland, Russia, Agartha. This motherfucker had plans.
We shall go to Agartha. just him. Yeah, I can imagine him like look like those guards, kind of like stoically standing there, and then him and all his fucking SS people. He's just like screaming at them, like, "I want to find the gateway to death." And I think Genghis Khan is in there too, and like Joseph Stalin was part of that painted mural of like a really really good piece of art of all sorts of murderers and dictators and famous war people.
I mean, if you want to really get across the point of all these people that really wanted to get the power of Agartha, you put in the biggest dickheads there are, all in one painting.
Yeah, that might just be like part of our like, I don't know. I feel like big part of like U.S. American education is like Hitler was bad, and like we kind of just don't focus on a lot of the other like people who did similar things or ancient people who murdered a bunch. Like, you know, there's no one blinks an eye like Genghis Khan's name. No one's like, oh, Genghis Khan, like, but Hitler, and rightfully so.
I mean, yeah, Hitler was bad, and so was Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say they were all bad people. None of them
They're
were
all
good
bad,
people.
but it's all we're saying is that it's really shocking to see a picture of Hitler in this otherwise very, very artful film. And, like, you know, it's just, like, oh, like, okay, so this takes place in the real world. Because Hitler was in the real world. Right? Is that the insinuation? And Agartha has been
also
battling.
attack helicopters are in the real world, too. So
Yeah, but
that.
I'm talking about, like Germany is somewhere, and they're, like, some file, they're like, Agartha.
Must find Agartha.
Must find Agartha. Yeah,
Forget
and that was
Poland, Agartha.
But yeah, because you know, it's establishing that basically any time they've encountered an overworld person, it's been bad news. And honestly, if I didn't know any overworld people and I met Hitler, I probably wouldn't want to meet any more overworld people either. So I get it, and that's why that's a lot of reason why Murasaki and Asuna are like treated basically as lepers. They just, you know, they're like a black cat. Just bearer of bad news, though I like black cats. But anyways,
I just thought it was so funny. I was like, fucking Hitler trying to take over Agartha. Typical.
where's that anime? Where's that? Can I get like a 30-minute like mini-sode or something? Or can I get like a?
There's gonna be a Netflix special about it. And there are other 15 Hitler specials.
Hitler versus Agartha. Well, he's not going to be the main character.
Obviously not.
Well,
you know.
it's going to focus on him a bit. I just want to see anime Hitler. What a fucking yeah.
Oh, man.
that was definitely shocking.
That was super shocking. I was like, this is such an innocent movie. Then bam, the scumbag.
Bam, bam.
Let's see. Any other scene you want to talk about, Dylan?
I kind of want to talk about more toward the end, because that's where sort of a lot of these things start to come together. So Asuna and Murasaki are leave the village in a boat. Mimi stays behind and then dies, and then gets eaten by a god thing that basically kind of, in a weird way, looks like one of them giants from Majora's Mask, and makes a similar sound later on. Reminded me of that a bit. So Murasaki and Asuna make it to a very steep circle pit that's like super wide, and it's like big granite blocks basically. And to get to the gateways of hell, or the door to death and life, like where all that stuff, they have to make it to the bottom. And Asuna tries to go down with Murasaki, but she just can't. It's dangerous, and maybe she's afraid of what she'll find. But Murasaki obviously is, to a very unhealthy point, determined to get his wife back, makes the trek down. And while that happens, they trade the crystal for the gun. So this 11-year-old girl is hanging out with this gun. And he's taking the crystal to try to open the portal to the hell, they're basically in hell, right? I thought that was the implication, or not hell, but this is the underworld. This is the place of death in a lot of ways.
Yeah, kind
of. Kind of. They're only trying to resurrect dead people. Like,
it doesn't necessarily have to be hell.
And nearly
just,
succeed.
It's just a plane of where life and death meet. So it could kind of be like a middle ground, you know?
And also, about hell
they
being
call?
like, Which place?
The place they call the middle ground between heaven and hell. It's like they talk about it on Supernatural
Middle
all the
Earth.
time. I forget.
It's called
Yes,
the Middle
Lord of the
Earth.
Rings,
where
Middle Earth, Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
I don't know, but yeah, it's like limbo or something, right? Is that it?
Purgatory.
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 Yeah, it could be like a purgatory. But a very lush green, beautiful vista filled purgatory. And also, I just want to say about hell is normally depicted as a bad place. Why? Why wouldn't the devil make it good for all the evil people? Like if you're a bad person,
why wouldn't he trick?
what the devil's tricking people? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, like why would he not trick people? Give a nice facade and then behind everything sucks. That could be an interpretation.
But no,
for hell, right?
all public interpretations of hell are fiery. Like people like it's a miserable place. But if you're evil and the devil wants you to do evil things, why wouldn't the place you go after life be awesome, right? Why wouldn't it just be like blackjack hookers, chilling, like, welcome. You did a bunch of horrible things, welcome. You fucked it up down there. You really made a mess. Welcome.
It's me, devil. Very nice. High five.
Pretty much. I was talking about a scene, but yeah, and so basically, was it Asuna stays up. She eventually gets surrounded by the evil dark monsters, and she uses a gun but misses because she's getting choked to death. And she I feel like she's like very close to death until she gets saved by Shin, who brings it into the light, or as dawn rises, conveniently, all the monsters are destroyed. And actually, speaking of that, there's a few times where there's some scenes that cut off real quick, and maybe a little bit like Total Recall that we watched recently, where you're not sure what's real and not sure what's not, because there's I feel like there's a few scenes where they have very vivid dreams, as they spend more time in this in Agartha. So it's just interesting stuff there, where it's maybe this world is affecting them because they're overworlders in more ways than one.
Yeah, it's similar to why Shun died, because people from Agartha couldn't live in the overworld for any longer than a next amount of time.
Yeah, is that because of some mystical stuff, or is that because these archangels are out there trying to kill everybody?
I think it's some mystical stuff, because that's why he just died. It was because his body can no longer sustain himself to be there any longer.
Or he's just clumsy and fell off a cliff. We don't know. But yeah, no.
Chris Hansen was too close to him. He's like, I gotta do something.
Yeah, you're probably right though. So yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Jose. Tell me about some anime stuff.
So I guess the last thing I really wanted to say was the fight scene between Shin and the three men after
that was very
allow
good.
Mr. Norizaki and Asuna to continue on to get to the cliff so they can start climbing down. I thought that was very well coordinated.
To the gate of life and death.
Yeah. That was a very beautifully displayed scene where Shin takes on the three guys. Unfortunately, he's not strong enough for one of them.
Yeah, but he's standing up for what he believes in. And what he believes in is that, hate begets hate. That nothing good comes of it. And because these people have this fear of the overworld, it's despite the fact that they saved the mute child, despite the fact that they are mostly non-violent, even Mr. Morisaki has not been overly addicted to anybody, Agarthan-wise, I guess. It's just your hate is just breeding more hate, and he's standing up for what he goddamn believes in and fighting three dudes that are way bigger than him and have way bigger swords.
Yeah, it's the age-old story of people, fighting against people whose beliefs are ingrained into because of one thing that happened, and trying to fight.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of
those-
people on that mural. Like, apparently these people also fought Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great and Napoleon and Joseph Stalin. Like,
I mean, you know, not everyone who came to the Agartha was a great person, but you know, there's always going to be an exception to the people who come in. You know, the guy who came in and gave that old man his granddaughter. I'm sure he wasn't a terrible person.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm just saying, you know,
What
But,
are
yeah.
you saying?
I'm saying there's good people even when there's bad people. That's all I'm saying.
Good people, something, that's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Good people,
Gotcha.
bad people, they're everywhere.
It's true. It's true.
I think we pretty much wrapped up the story. I mean, there isn't much else I could think of about you. How about yourself, Dylan?
Yeah, it's a very beautiful film, very thoughtful and emotional and all that stuff. Ends with a good life lesson where you can't, you can grieve. It's healthy to grieve. It's healthy to cry and all that stuff. But you can't let the death of another stop you from living, because that person would not want that for you, right? So, like, does Murasaki's dead wife want him to? Did she want him to? And even she says it. She says it in the flashback. She's like, "Don't worry about me. I'm gonna die before you. Don't go to the underworld and do any crazy shit." And look at him. He just did not listen. Just overcome with anger and emotion. And look where it led him. He got humbled, for sure, when face to face with the Ark, the god, with a million eyes. And now he's blind.
After he became blind, he could no longer see his beloved. So was
He
it really
became
worth
blind
it?
with grief. That and Shin destroyed the crystal.
Well, he only destroyed it after he allowed Asuna to be the host for his wife's body.
Yeah, but no.
Which, I mean, dick move.
Well, no, wait. Shin is the one who destroyed the crystal. Murasaki is the one that allowed Asuna to get possessed by the body. So, if Murasaki had the choice, he would have allowed this to continue. It was Shin that broke the cycle and destroyed the crystal and restored everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. It sounded like you were saying like Murasaki. It sounded like you were saying
Oh, no,
Murasaki
no.
destroyed the crystal. Like,
No, Norasaki allowed the takeover to continue, and then Shin tried to destroy the crystal so he can save Asuna.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wonderful movie, wonderful life lessons and all that. Total thumbs up. Yeah, go watch it. It's good.
Watch it. I also agree with Dylan. Thumbs up movie. Very beautiful story. Although it didn't get me in the feels like some other movies have gotten me in the feels, but it's still a good movie overall.
Absolutely.
All right, but before we head on over to the coin flip time,
A little shout out, right?
yep, we got a little shout out to the With Nothing to Say podcast, hosted by Austin and Angel, who are also movie lovers just like myself and Dylan. They discuss various movies in depth, and why not check out their latest episode that came out? They're discussing a 1967 Jacques Tati film called Playtime. So after the podcast, look them up, With Nothing to Say podcast.
Yeah, and I've never heard of that film, so I'm definitely going to head over and listen so I can learn about that film and what makes it good or what makes it bad.
And then maybe that'll entice you to watch the movie.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, "Hey, I watched a movie. Look at me."
And apparently, I was listening to the podcast, and apparently Jacques Tati only directed a few movies, and he pretty much then vanished out of nowhere.
Yeah, Jack Titties, definitely a great French director. Total dude, total bro. Right? Like
Total bro, man.
that's Jacques TT. Right?
Jacques Tati.
That's French for Jack Titties.
Dylan, what is with your mind today, man?
It's
Straight to the gutter every time.
this is it's past my bedtime, bro. It's past my bedtime.
So Dylan can go get his wrists. Everybody, it's time for coin flip time. I wanna flip that coin. I wanna flip that coin. I hope that I win third time in a row.
Flip time. Coin flip time. And drama was the category this week, right?
Total Drama Island.
Which is admittedly a broad category.
Super broad. There's like, I was looking, the movie Beverly Hills Chihuahua is apparently a drama.
Yeah, all films that have drama is just conflict. Any film that has conflict is a drama film.
Did
the
I
B movie.
Give away my pick?
The B movie is a drama film.
There's conflict in that?
Oh yeah. I think a man and a bee do it. Or a woman and a bee do it.
B movie? You nasty.
I can't confirm that though.
Because you didn't watch the movie.
No, what do you think? I got fucking shit to do with my life. Think I'm gonna sit around here and watch the fucking B movie if it's not for the podcast? What kind of heathen do you think I am?
I don't know. You know, some people just watch sick things for their own enjoyment.
Some people just watch the B movie.
Some people just want to watch the B movie and watch the world burn.
Maybe I will watch the B movie this week.
Why not? It's only like an hour and a half, right?
And then I'll stick it in your face. I'll be like, I watched the damn B movie, you son of a bitch.
But, so I'll go first with my pick for this week. It's going to be the 1995 film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, Michael Imperioli, Ernie Hudson, and Lorraine Bracco. I'm talking about The Basketball Diaries.
The Basketball Diaries.
This is young Leo. It's got Marky Mark, fellow Boston boy.
As Marky Mark?
Yep. You have some cast members from The Sopranos, and of course Ernie Hudson. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, hopefully not, because you got young Leo. He's pretty good. Well, he's good, except when they put him in like that like romance
Titanic?
crap. Yeah. Well, it's not crap.
Don't worry. This is not romance. So the story is about a teenager who wants to become a basketball star, but he kind of.
But he's white, so he's not good enough. They're like, you can't jump. You can't jump. And he's like,
we're not watching White Man Can't Jump, Dylan.
Is this? Did you mean? Is this like a Kyle Korver biopic where they're like, hey man,
actually,
you gotta learn how to shoot threes? Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Kyle Korver wasn't even in the league. Kyle Korver was probably like 10 years old in this movie.
Yeah, maybe this inspired him.
But this movie is about somebody who failed to be a basketball star because of heroin addiction.
Well, he was like, I'm not going to do heroin. I'll learn how to shoot big threes. And here I am. I'm hanging out with Derrick Rose.
Confirmed, this is the movie that inspired Kyle Korver to become a
inspired
basketball
a generation of Kyle Korver fans like myself. So that's your film. My film is not the B movie. I really thought about bringing Neil Breen back for this week because his films are full of drama and suspense.
Technically, they're all just comedies.
Excuse me. Did you not watch Twisted Pair? No, but serious note, a movie I kind of wanted to watch for a while, but not get around to it. The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe and the other guy, Edward. Team Edward. He's in it. Oh, I forget the guy's name. Robert Pattinson.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman. So Batman and the Green Goblin in the lighthouse.
Is that even allowed?
I mean, they made it. It's a film. It exists. I've seen clips.
Oh man, I'm sure Disney was over a fit. They're like, Goblin, Batman. What are you doing?
Disney will just buy DC eventually, and there'll be all those crossover films in like 10 years.
We'll see. All right, Dylan, it's your turn this week.
Oh, I get to choose heads or tails.
Yes, sir.
Heads or tails.
Flip this coin.
Miles tails per hour.
Tails?
Tails.
Sorry, buddy. we're going to be watching Basketball Diaries.
Basketball Diaries.
Look at that. Three in a row. That's right. 3 in a row. That's tight.
We got some totally good films for your selection, so I'll presume this is going to be another banger.
I hope so. I mean, I haven't seen it in a very long time, so my idea of a good film could have changed.
Maybe.
From when I first watched it.
It's possible. Well, we'll find out next week when we watch Like Mike with little
Dragon
Bow Wow.
Ball Z. Oh. I thought we were going to watch Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, we can watch Dragon Ball Z. I actually think Battle of the Gods is a good movie.
Super Broly.
Yeah. Future Trunks. Revenge of the Trunks. Or History of
Bardock.
Trunks.
The History of Bardock.
Naruto.
All right. Now you're just getting off topic. Chris Hansen.
Why are you here today, Naruto? Because I want to be I'm going to be a Hokage. Believe it. You're not.
Believe it.
Did you send these messages to an underage girl?
Believe it. Girls. Ugh. Gross.
God, someone end this podcast. This madness.
Check us out on Twitter at The People's Review. What's it? With a DA. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we are now also on Amazon Music.
And I just want to personally shout out Jose for getting that done.
Magical night.
Oh yeah, and don't travel alone unless you want to get eaten by bears and then get kissed by a predator.
And then you're on the next episode of Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC.
So Lil Bow Wow, you told me these shoes are from Michael Jordan. Is that right?
Yes.
End this.
Shut up and sit down.